everybody. Welcome back to the Neil's Homestead. I'm Jeanette and I'm back out in my old certified kitchen where I've been growing plants, and I'm going to transplant some more seedlings, but there are a couple of things I want to talk to you about while I do it. First, I want to show you that I got a package in the mail today, a very fun package for me because they're Moringa Seeds. I don't know if you've paid much attention to plant news over the past few years, but moringa has become very popular. It's kind of a superfood. It grows very well in tropical climates, but we can get it to grow here over the summer, and then you have to figure out what you're going to do with your plant after that during the winter if you have got a place to put it. The first thing I'm going to do is soak them in water for 24 hours. They want to float, I see. I didn't expect them to float. I expected them to sink. But I'll have to watch that and see if they will sink after that. There's an outer membrane kind of thing on them that's a little papery, and I'm thinking possibly is that soaks up, that might make them sink. And I'll try to do a video on moringa so you can have a better understanding of what it is, and bring in some experience from my son Jeremiah and his wife Galilee, who lived on a tropical island and had moringa growing wild there, and so we'll see what they have to say about it. Here's a quick look at some of the plants that I've worked on. I guess that's all lettuce, and these are all tomatoes. And those are little non-hot habaneros. I'm really curious to see what those are going to look like, or be like, taste like. And then, wow, look at this. Cauliflower and that Chinese cabbage. Look how much that grew. I can hardly believe it. Okay, they're doing really good. I was afraid that my lights might not be close enough, but they obviously are because nothing's getting leggy. And I'm happy. Today I'm going to be transplanting some peppers first, and these are Shishitos. I love Shishito Peppers. I did a video about Shishito Peppers, and I'll try to put a link for that in here somewhere if you'll look for that. And Shishito Peppers are little frying peppers. You just put them in a hot skillet and let them fry with no coating or anything till they're done. Now, I did a video just recently about separating plants and how to do it, but I'll show you briefly here. I took out a row of these Shishito peppers out of this tray right here, and all you do is separate the plants from each other. You don't have to be really afraid that you're going to hurt them. Just pull the roots apart, grab them by the tops or the stems, and pull them apart. I'll show you right here how I transplant them. I kind of swirl a little hole down in my potting soil and then push the root ball down in there and let the plants stick up above. If you put some of the stem down there, it's good. On peppers it's not going to grow a root like it will on tomato plants, but at least it gives it some more support in case it's a little bit too tall. It gives it some strength. Now, if you want to know more about this, I have a video that is about transplanting tomatoes that's very useful. I'll try to put that in here somewhere too. And then the last video I did about transplanting seedlings is just a couple of 3, 4, 5 days ago, so look for that. So while I'm doing this, I want to talk about the temptation that we have to start planting things in the garden too early. Some years spring just seems to come early, and we want to start trusting it and go out there and put some tomatoes in the ground before it's really time. And that ends up often costing you. It costs you money for what you spent on the tomato plants. It costs you time and effort for all the work that you did out there, or the work that you did starting the tomato seedlings in your house. So I'm here to just caution you against starting and planting outside earlier than it's time. You should trust the old ways of doing things, of waiting until it's time. I mean, you need to know your area's time, because the farther south you go, the sooner you can plant. The farther north, the later you're going to have to wait, just because of the weather. Here in Missouri, it's typically known and believed, although some people have a different opinion, about the last frost date is around May the 10th. Now, some people will go into the end of April and claim that that's going to be your last frost date. But we have watched for a lot of years. Old guy, you know, he's an old timer, and so he's watched for a lot of years on the patterns of the way things have gone. And we believe, for the most part, that you shouldn't plant anything that's not resistant to cold before Mother's Day, at least, which this year happens to be on May the 10th. Because even if you can plant your tomatoes outside and keep them alive, keep them not frosted, if it's chilly, they're not going to do anything. They're just going to sit there, and it can actually not be good for them. That you can keep them alive, but in the long run, you will be better off if you will just wait. Keep them in a warm, protected place. If they're getting too big, bump them up into a bigger pot and stick that stem that's sticking up down in the ground, in the soil, so that they can have plenty of roots growing along that stem. That's the way a tomato plant will do. Grow roots on the stem. I'm going to tell you that not every plant benefits from doing something like that. Vining crops don't like that. You need to not plant your vining crops until approximately 4 weeks before you feel like it's going to be safe to put them outside. Now I'm going to work on some broccoli because it looks different from my pepper plants, and I won't get things mixed up. So this is my Shishitos, and then I'm going to put broccoli down on this other end. Don't hesitate to put broccoli out into the ground while it's still, I mean, it can even take a frost. A hard freeze probably isn't going to do it any good, but a frost will, it won't hurt it. You can go ahead and put cold hardy things out. Other cold hardy things are planting beets and carrots and lettuce and spinach, turnips. I mean, you have to investigate a little bit. There are lots of things that you can plant. Potatoes. Potatoes are one you can plant out while it's still cold. Even if they get froze back, they'll grow back again. Make sure you know what you're doing, and make sure you don't get in too big of a hurry, because even though it seems like it might be worth a gamble, I feel like pretty often it's not. And I'm going to tell you here that as a market gardener and a person who sold plants and who's been around greenhouses and other people who sell plants, the attitude of the plant producer is, come on over here and buy my tomato plants. Inside his head he's saying, I know it's not time for you to plant them, but come on over here and buy my tomato plants and set them out. And then in 2 weeks after they freeze, come on back over and buy some more tomato plants for me, because you let your other ones freeze. Don't trust somebody who's selling plants for a living to tell you not to grow your plants. They're not out to deceive you. They're not going to tell you, yeah, it's okay. But if you ask them, what they're probably going to say is, well, you have to use your own judgment. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I'm here to tell you, be more careful than that. Wait, and you will end up with a better product in the end. You're just in a big hurry to have some fresh tomatoes, just like me. But, and here's another thing you might want to do, is look into getting a high tunnel. Because if you get a high tunnel to grow your tomatoes in, and some other things like peppers, you can get an early start. And a high tunnel can last you for years and years. And we believe that it's a very good investment. And if you've been following us, then you probably know we have Well, basically we have 3 high tunnels and then another little building that we call the garden house. That's about my lecture for today on what you should do to make sure that you're not wasting your time and your hard-earned money on trying to put plants into the ground that are not going to survive or do well. I'm going to keep working on getting these things planted, and I appreciate you so much coming and visiting my channel, and please subscribe if you haven't, and leave a comment. I really like to hear the comments and what people think, and I'll see you next time.
Just to be with you.